candidates. Today we want to look at the short story Hitting Budapest. But before we go there, allow me to introduce myself, Mr. Amuom. Now, Hitting Budapest is a story that is written by No Violet Bulawayo. This is a Zimbabwean story that has a lot of background in what's happened in Zimbabwe during the discrimination. Now, first of all, the plot is important. The story starts with 6 African children who are on their way to Budapest, a rich neighborhood, to steal guavas. That points you that when we talk about the rich neighborhood and there are African children that are preparing to get to steal guavas, then you already see them in balance because we are told they are hungry. On their way, they discuss the pregnancy of a 10-year-old girl by the name Chipo, who happens to have been raped by her grandfather. The children wonder how long it takes for babies to be delivered and why women give birth but not men. So from all this, we realize that the story is told from the perspective of a child's point of view. And that gives it the honesty and the truth of what happened in Zimbabwe at that time. In Budapest, they meet a British woman who takes a photo of them idling and perhaps informs a juvenile correction center where they are transformed. So that is the plot in summary of how the story begins, who is involved, and how it ends. Now, we want to go to the episodes, and the first episode is the journey to Budapest. We are told that these children live in an estate called Paradise, but there's another estate called Budapest. Budapest is for the rich, Paradise is for the poor African. Now, we want to see what takes these children to Paradise. Though we are told that there are restrictions, the black African children or Africans are not allowed to go to this estate. But because they are hungry and there are guavas there, then they have to go there. They are telling us what points to us the fact that they are hungry is the fact that the narrator says that I would rather die for guavas or anything for that matter. The narrator also says that my stomach feels like somebody just took a shovel and dug everything out. So they are empty in the stomach. That's why as much as their parents do not want them to go there, they have to go to Budapest because the guavas are there. Now, the next episode is about the responsible parents. These parents do not want their children to go there, but we are asking ourselves, what measures have they put in place? Have they put in place to stop this? But we are told that getting out of Paradise is not so hard. So as much as the parents would not want the children to get out of Paradise, they tell us that it is easier. What makes it easier? One, the fact that mothers are busy with hair and talk. Number 2, men are seated under jacaranda tree idling, and the fact that the men do not take their eyes off the drafts that they are playing. Lastly, the narrator and the other 5 children get it easier to get out of Paradise because the younger children that want to follow them up are easily scared, and then they get an opportunity to get out of Paradise. Now, we want to see what makes Budapest attractive. We are told that it's an estate for the rich, and it is described as a country where people who are not like us live. So that already tells you that there is racial discrimination. It is said not to be an ordinary country. Budapest is so quiet. The writer says that it looks like everybody had taken their passports and left their compound. Even the air is so empty. It has big houses, gravelled yards, flowers, no burning things, tall walls and fences. You do not dare to be here. So this is a conclusive remark that it is not possible for these children to be in Budapest They have found their way here illegally, and they are mesmerized by some of the good things that we find in Budapest. Even the food that is eaten here is different. Even the mode of dressing is also different. The young lady that is a representative of the residents of Budapest is called Mel, who is 33 years old but looks 15. She's dressed in a spinky dress and her hairs, her skin is so smooth. The writer says that you think that she's a baby. Now look at what happens in how paradise is described. First of all, it is described as a shanty. We are told that people listen to dancehall and kwaito. These are the type of music that are characteristic of Islam. We are told that the children have to feed on guavas, and once they have done this, then what they can get from paradise is the water and the stories that are told by one of the women. There is no smiling there, and the children dress in tattered, oversized clothes. So these are some of the episodes that points to the class difference that we have in Paradise and Budapest. Now, as a good candidate, I want you to also look at these other episodes. There's the episode about dreams. There's the episode about the correctional centers. And once more, I want you to look at, remember, that the other time I said that the episodes that we look on for a particular lesson will be guided by the question that we have. Now, once you get to the episodes of the dreams that the children have, for example, some of them would want to go to South Africa, Botswana. Some of them would want to go to America to stay with Aunt Faustina. Some of them would want to get educated and come back and buy a house in Budapest or Los Angeles or Paris. That is now the dream, and there are challenges that point to that. Then lastly, we want you to look at the correctional center and how it is able to transform these children. Now let us look at this sample question with illustrations from Noviolet Bulawayo's hit in Budapest. Describe how this story is a reflection of a stratified society. So this is our story for this for the episodes that we have, and as always, we expect you to do an introduction. We expect you to identify any 4 points that brings about stratification. The key word is stratification. That is what we'll introduce in the what? In the that's what is the text in the introductory part. And once we have that text, once we analyze it, we are supposed to paraphrase it, and with the knowledge of the story, then it is possible to bring about this meaning without repeating the word stratified in the introduction. Then after that, we expect the candidate to do a link. And remember that we are not talking about stratification in our society or that we know, but we are talking about discrimination on the basis of what happened in the short story hitting Budapest. By doing that, the candidate will get his 2 marks in the introductory part because the link will be there, and at the same time the test, which is stratified. Now, in the body, we look at the areas of discrimination. What are these areas that mark these glaring differences? One is the housing. So you look at in Budapest, we are told of big houses. In Paradise, we are told of shanties. A good student should be able to see that. Then number 2, we are supposed to see the eateries. What is it that is people in Budapest Budapest eat? This is seen through the character menu, who eats something that is crust-like, that is described to be pink, that is described to be corn-like buns. And the children actually observe that they have never eaten something like that. And they also add, When the girl is finally done with this and throws away the remnants, the narrator says that she has never seen food being thrown away. Whereas in Budapest, we are told guavas is the order of the day, and above all, and it comes with challenges, because they are telling us that when it comes to answering a call of nature, then it is like delivering a country. So we expect the candidate to look at that. Number 3, the physical appearance. A male who is 33 years old is said to have a smooth skin, similar to a child that is 15 years old. The characters that we have, the children are far much younger than men, yet we are told of their scars and all that. Look at their mode of dressing, and therefore the comparison should be done along those parameters. And finally, remember to do a conclusion, which must be conscious. When we talk about conscious, then it means that it must be deliberate. And that means that the candidate must begin in conclusion, or the candidate must say finally. These words are important because the examiner would not know whether the candidate is still discussing the body or is winding up his essay with such, and therefore the usage of such words are very important. Now we have some homework here. I want you to look at these episodes, the dreams that each and every character has, the challenges that threaten these dreams, and finally, how do they realize it? Then we want you to look at, again, the correctional center. How does it transform? How does it help this bring back these children? So that Chipo, who was talking of graduating into a criminal, how does the correctional center transform her? The girl that is about to give birth, how does this place help us, and how does it help them in nourishing their dreams? That is the end of that story. Thank you.